Divergence is an interesting topic, and with sensitive indicators you see a fair amount of divergence that you possibly might not see if you didn't have sensitive indicators. I'm going to be covering BOC patterns. This would be bottom of cycle higher patterns, bottom of cycle lower patterns, and explain a little bit about their divergent positions, because much of what we're going to be looking at is on a peak. And so where I have this yellow line, for example, I'll take the price green and red on this first subchart, and we can see that we're in a BOC higher pattern. And obviously, if you're in a bottom of cycle pattern on a peak, that's divergence. If you look down into the trend chart, trend gray is a BOC lower pattern. And so those two are divergent in nature, just comparing the two by themselves. We also have a pink-green top that's in its third day, it looks like, and we can see from the candles it goes down the next day. But another example is over here. In this case here we have a we have a BOC pattern lower in both the price green and red and in the trend gray lines. We also have the same down in the zip chart, and looks like the other way around in the power chart, and of course then we have a lower BOC lower in the swing chart. My emphasis is to explain, is to show BOC patterns and to explain their divergence, and for you to recognize that, like especially on this day right here, where you have the identical patterns, they're BOC patterns, but one's a higher and one's a lower. In this example, you may, or not in this example, but I mean earlier, in other videos, you may have heard me say something about over the hill, and over the hill would mean this pattern right here in the price chart. This is actually the beginning of a downtrend because it is a lower high, and so when you have a lower high, that is technically the start of a downtrend. Many people will comment about you need, several of them to get a pattern going, but in the markets that we have today, things move so quickly. If you wait for several, you won't have a trade. So that's in this case here, where the vertical yellow line is, we have most of the BOC patterns are BOC lower, and I would refer to this as being over the hill, whereas this one here would be, at least the price green is a before the peak, or in this case at the peak, is what oftentimes happens. But that creates a at the peak, a BOC higher creates a at the peak condition. And when you have a over the hill condition, or a BOC lower on the trend chart, then obviously you can see there's one force pushing it up and one force pushing it down. So it's an excellent example of divergence, and how you can use the divergence to your effectiveness, or to your trading ability. And so in these, at least in this example, in comparing your power, your bottom of cycle pattern on a peak, it's always good to identify and find divergence, because divergence in itself, divergence won't tell you what's happening. At least, like, for example, if you have a power white and a power yellow that are divergent, especially if they're in the middle of other indicators. When they're on the peak, that makes a difference. And so I wanted to point that out, or those aspects out on this video. And there'll be more to come.